Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I am going way out of my comfort zone in this video using something I've never used before to create a jewellery tray, and I am using crystals. I've got these stunning browns and blues. Ooh, let's go. To complement the crystal colours, I am using coffee bean brown and totally teal from the Colour Cottage. These are stunning, stunning pearly mica powders, and at this point I was just hoping it would work. And a new little nifty trick, I've decided to create a puddle in the centre of the tray. By doing this, I'm going to be able to build the crystal mountain outside of the tray. Hopefully it works. Now, I got the crystals from Crystals with Style. I met her on TikTok a couple of weeks ago, and we met again on Instagram, and she asked if she could send me some of her crystals to try out, and I've never worked with crystals, so of course I said yes. So thank you so much to Crystals with Style. I'm actually going to be linking her Instagram down below in the description box. If you like the look of the crystals, then go check her out. She's got some beautiful things, and I'm excited because I've never worked with crystals before. So here we are. I've mixed up the brown, I've mixed up the blue, and I am actually using a technique that I've just recently seen in Petra Gerbrucht's YouTube channel. So this is my first attempt at the crackle effect. Now, I think I got this effect a year or two ago, but I didn't know that that's what it was called, so I just thought it was a fail. But this is the first time actually trying it, and yeah, I was excited. I messaged her and I was like, I'm gonna try your effect. I love it. So thank you, Petra, for sharing that video with us. So the first thing I'm doing is pouring the brown around the outside, and then I'm going in heavy with the blue. So there's going to be a lot more blue than brown in this. Because what's going to happen, if you've done resin before, you'll know that resin travels to the centre. So the next trick, pour the rest of your clear straight in the middle. That pushes everything out to the side. Now, I do want a lip here. I want to be able to top coat, and I realised I poured just a little bit too much. So in I come with my syringe. Yeah, that's the word. And I'm just taking out a little bit of that clear in the middle, and you can already see the outsides starting to travel towards the centre. So yeah, at this point I didn't know if I'd done it right, or if, yeah, it's all very new to me, but I figured I would try it anyway. I did end up going around with the heat gun. This was just to A, try and get rid of any air bubbles that I could see, but B, help them blend as well. I'm not sure this step was necessary. So here's my little nifty trick. I'm going to create a puddle in the middle of the piece, and to do that I'm using these silicone cups filled with glass, crushed glass stones. These are not crystals, they are crushed glass. It's going to weigh it down and hold it down in the centre, and hopefully the next day when I demould, I'll get a nice little puddle that I'm going to be able to slot the mountain into. So this basically made me think, if this is going to work, then I might as well, instead of creating the crystal mountain inside the tray, I might as well create it outside the tray and have it ready to slot in at the same time. That makes sense, I hope. So I'm just using my leftover resin to pour into an identical silicone cup, this little silicone cuppy thing. I'm not sure, they probably have a better word than that, but yeah. And I'm just filling it with my own crushed glass at this point. What I don't want to do is use up every single crystal that was sent to me by Crystals with Style, because they'll kind of get lost. I want them to be the main attraction. I want them to be the star of the show. So I'm creating a mountain out of crushed glass in this silicone cup, making sure that all of that glass is fully coated with resin. I build it up and build it up until I think I can't build it up anymore. It's gonna pour out over the edge. And then, oh my gosh, I start putting in the crystals that were sent to me. I've got these gorgeous browns. Now, they do have a name, and I'll put it on the screen. She actually sent me a list of all of the names of all of the crystals that she sent me, so I will put the name of these on the screen. beautiful shades of brown, and I think going against the blue, they are going to complement it so much. So for me, again, this was a new technique. I've not seen anybody do this, but it was a case of taking my time. It was a case of pushing the stones down into the crystals and hoping that they stay there. Hoping that they stay there was key. Really, the main character for me were these two stunning blues. Oh my gosh, if you know me, you know blue's my favourite colour, but these blues, they're the next level blues. So I had to put the two long ones in the centre. I want these to be not only the highest point of the mountain, but they are the pieces that are going to hold the rings. They are the pieces that are going to hold the main element of jewellery. So yeah, you can see me getting super fiddly here, but it really was a case of perseverance and wedging things up against the side, and then each time I placed a crystal into the mountain, I just kind of held it there to make sure it wasn't going anywhere. And that was the process of creating my crystal mountain outside of the main piece. Part of me thought, if I try to create this in the tray, directly in the tray, I could see disaster. I could see absolute carnage, absolute mess. I don't think I would have been able to build it all up the way I'm building it up right now. So that is where that's where my thought processes were going. I thought it's going to be much easier for me to create it here as we are now. I'm totally waffling at this point, but this is when I started to add the browns on top. So you see I've built up the majority of it with my own crushed glass, cheap crushed glass, because I want these brown stones to be able to stick on the top of that and be seen. I didn't want them to get lost at all. So this is me. Do you know what this reminds me of? You know when you hire a skip when you're trying to have a clear out of the house, and you hire a skip and people put things down the sides to make the skip take more things? I don't know why that was going through my head. I was going with that logic. I was like, if I can get the tall ones down the sides, then it's going to let me build up the middle more. But yeah, this is it. The mountain is building. It reminds me of a crystal rocky outcrop, something in the mountains of Scotland or Cumbria or Keswick, and oh gosh, just yeah, it was giving me Crystal Mountain vibes, and that is why I decided to call it the Crystal Mountain. But here we are. Here we are. I've put loads more brown stones on. I've also got all of these beautiful blues here that were sent to me by Crystals with Style, but I'm not going to use them in this video because it's a different blue, and yeah, I didn't want to go there. Here we are. Next morning, this is 24 hours later. The first step for me was to take the centre out. I've made it look way more fiddly than it was. It just slipped out so easily, but I don't know why my brain, I didn't want to let those stones fall, and I don't know why. It's only now editing. I'm like, why didn't you just grab it? Just grab it. But here we are. Here is the puddle in the centre of the tray, and my logic was that this crystal mountain is now going to slot perfectly in there, minus the gap for the silicone pot, the silicone bowl here. There will be a bit of a gap, but we'll fill that with resin. And look at this! It worked! It worked! I was so happy. They are solid as a rock, which is ideal because, you know, they're meant to actually resemble the mountains of I don't know where. We don't have crystal mountains, but you know what I mean. And get this, this is what... Honestly, I'm like a child. I was like, ooh, it spins, a spinny thing. So I thought I'd bring you along for that little bit of fun. Unfortunately, it's going to be stuck in place very shortly and it won't be spinning anymore, but look at this spinning action. Is that not the coolest thing? Imagine having the knowledge to be able to create something like this with a spinning centre. Okay, back to the video. The rest of the stones I'm going to put around the outside once that centre point is in. I'm aware there'll be some kind of gappy void around, so I'm going to build it up from the outside as well, but not build it up too much. otherwise it just won't stay. So there you saw I just poured a little bit of resin. Now for this part I'm using turbo. It's going to cure super quick, allowing me to top coat within the same day. So yeah, I just poured a little bit of turbo in there, realised I probably needed a bit more, so I added a little bit more, and you can see how it's been pushed out and over the edge. That tells me that there's loads of resin packed down underneath the crystal mountain. This is where we got messy, but do not fear, it all gets covered up because top coats are like our best friends. I'm using more of my own cheap crushed glass to build up the outside because again, I don't want those brown stones, I don't want them getting lost underneath, so I'm going to be placing these on top of the crushed glass, and of course the resin will just keep them there, they won't move. And that is what I did. I went around the whole piece making sure that those stones were visible, and it kind of gives me more of a natural lead up to the mountain as opposed to there being this void, this great big kind of void underneath it. But yeah, I think it's worked beautifully, and what it has done is elevated the mountain up way higher in the piece than if I created that mountain directly into that cavity that I created with the silicone cup. It's worked out so much better than I expected. I've almost forgotten completely about the crackle effect in the resin because I'm so excited about the crystal mountain. But here we are. This is top coating resin. This is actually glass cast 3 that I'm using. I just poured some on and I used my heat gun and I heated it up quite a lot because there were some air bubbles in my resin and I was conscious about that. And I figured if I just pour a little bit, heat it up a lot, then when I pour the next bit, that heat will automatically get rid of those bubbles for me. And it worked. Look at this. Oh my gosh. I mean, this is the first intentional attempt at the crackle effect. I mean, it doesn't look as fabulous as Petra's, but I'm still loving these shades of blues and browns. And this almost Game of Thrones meets Never-Ending Story crystal mountain in the middle. Yeah, out of my comfort zone. So happy with the results. This teal, oh my gosh, this teal, I love it. The crystals are beautiful. Let me know your thoughts at this point. Let me know if you've ever tried anything like this, if you've used something silicone to create a void in your work so that you can backfill it later. Yeah, let me know. I really am happy that I tried it. I mean, the underside. Why are the undersides so ugly? Like, the science is incredible with resin, how a lot of the pattern is on top. Here is a close-up of the crystal mountain. I love it. And of course, I have to go in with the gold pen. I think gold and brown and blue all work so well together. And it's just going to give it a little bit of extra And yeah, that is what I'm going to do. So the edge of this mould, of course, I forgot to mention the mould is from Moulds and Shapes. This is their round geode small. And yeah, even though they've just recently sent me a new round, I wanted the geode edge to kind of add to the crystally effect. But yeah, that information will also be linked down below. I'm using my gold deco colour pen here. I'm not going to show you the whole process of doing this edge because, oh boy, it was time consuming. Yeah, that's when I kind of regret not going for the round edge. So much quicker. But it needed to be. It needed to be this crystal edge. And I did decide to bring the pen up and over the top as well, just so that from the top you've got a little bit more to look at as well. So yeah, that's what I did. Again, I'm not going to show you the whole thing because time consuming. So after going around halfway, I did decide to make that edge thicker. So I brought more of that pen nib up and over the edge. Again, I'm moving the tray, I'm not moving my hand. It's kind of so much easier doing it this way. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let me know your thoughts. Look at this crackle effect with the teal and the brown. Loving that. There is a little bit of debris on this. I feel like even though I covered it up, a little bit of sparkle got in. But sparkle's never a bad thing. So yeah, I'm so happy with it. Like I said at the beginning, out of my comfort zone. I've never worked with crystals, like actual crystals, and here it is in use. You can just appreciate my artistic shots for a moment. Placing my rings on. This was my intention, for it to be a ring holder, but of course then you've got space around the outside for your earrings or your watches or whatever. But yeah, I love it. I think it's so pretty. Thank you so, so much to Crystals with Style for sending me these crystals. I've really enjoyed working with them. Pushed me, which I love. I love being pushed out of my comfort zone. And yeah, I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much if you've stayed this long. All of the details will be linked down below, including the crystals and the mould. And yeah, thank you for all of your support. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.